Welcome back to the 11th edition of Husky Mag. I'm Bobby Boleg.
And I'm Scott Hannenberg. We have a great show for you here tonight, so stick around for everything you want to know about Husky athletics.
Now, Scott, if you know anything about Husky athletics, you know about the wrestling team. The reigning national champions took over the mat once again Thursday night in a conference win 41-3 against Southwest Minnesota State. The Huskies dominated the match from the get-go, starting with a pin from Clint Poster at 165 pounds. The Huskies went on to score a total of 4 pins to end the evening by Jared Offendale, Matt Nelson, and VJ Gilo.
Well, the Huskies wrestling team adds another W in the win column with a 30-5 victory over number 15 Mankato. The Huskies opened the day with a pinfall victory by who other than Austin Gorgon. Gorgon took a win in the 285-pound weight class. Now that improves his record to 26-1 on the year. Tim Prescott beat 2 Mavericks in the 125-pound weight class with a 12-4 victory in that match. Now, one of the only losses for the Huskies, Tanner Tremblay lost his individual match 7-3. But the shining star in this one, Larry Bomstead, he upset his second-ranked opponent, Matt Mincy, and their results were 13-7 at the 157-pound weight class.
The season continues February 11th at home against Upper Iowa at 7 p.m. The match will be Youth and Military Appreciation Night.
That's right, Bobby. All kids K through 12 get admission for only $1, and any military personnel should bring a valid military ID for free entry to the event.
Now, Scott, not only is the wrestling team a team that St. Cloud State is known for, the St. Cloud State baseball team, they are coming off a record-winning season, winning 54 games, winning the conference tournament, and advancing to the final game of the regional tournament. The Huskies welcome back a senior-dominant team, but also have plenty of new faces to show. Senior Kyle Leeser and Logan Spitzak tell us more about some of the new players that the Huskies have joining them this season. Take a look.
We got some very good hitters, 1 through 9 again, and even guys on the bench that will be playing on a lot of teams in our conference. So as a pitching staff, we're trying to give ourselves the best chance to win, keeping ourselves in the game, knowing that our hitters are gonna put some runs up every single game.
We're gonna see some really good teams, but I think that, on their end, they're gonna see a really good team in us. I think that we have to know that, but we also have to stay humble about it too.
So this year we have a few more seniors actually, which is kind of cool. So we're trying to just be a leader for the younger guys because we got a lot of good freshmen coming in here. So trying to set the example just like those guys did for us in the past.
And that's really what we're starting to see with some of these young guys is that they're basically trying to pick our brains is kind of what we call it, and they're really listening to what we're saying because we've been here for 4 years and a lot of us have been here for 5 years. So we've seen a lot of teams and seen the success that they can have when everyone kind of buys in and you look at it as a team aspect rather than individually. Winning the conference is without a doubt our #1 goal, and then winning the conference tournament, and I think the last one that we're all looking to do is to get down to North Carolina, play and carry, and kind of finally get coaching the rest of the Huskies to carry North Carolina.
Bobby Boleg, UTVS News.
Now, with 17 freshmen on the team and a couple of transferred to add to that roster, the Huskies are looking to do it again.
Now the Huskies baseball team recently got a glimpse of the big leagues. After traveling to Minute Maid Park, home of the Houston Astros, after traveling to Houston, Texas for their first tournament of the year, the team competed in the Winter Classic, taking on St. Mary's University out of Texas and Tarleton State University. The boys got the luxury of staying downtown Houston, not only played some ball, but also saw the sights. They also had the opportunity to practice all weekend at Minute Maid Park. Pretty exciting for the boys to play at such a big venue to start off the season. Hopefully this kind of confidence will follow them as the season continues.
Yeah, the Huskies opened their season ranked #1 in the nation in Division II. They took #12 ranked St. Mary's of Texas in the Houston Winter Classic. The Huskies, of course, took the win, scoring 14 runs and allowing 10. SCSU starting pitcher Reese Gregory ended the game with 5 strikeouts in 5 innings, and SCSU's leadoff hitter Brandon Arnold had a pretty impressive game with a home run and a double to help the Cardinal and Black start off their season on a high note. After the game, a few of the Huskies commented on their first experience at Minute Maid Park.
You know, with how competitive our region is, every game matters. So we just go in one game at a time, try to win. Hopefully we come out on top today. We put together a good team battle, pitchers, hitters, so everything worked out today.
Yeah, it just felt good at the plate today. That second day in the batter's box, it just felt more comfortable today. Got a little bit more aggressive, and I got some pitches that I could drive and hit them for doubles.
We got 3 weeks. I go back. We still know we got work to be done here, and we're heading to Arizona 3-0, and we're feeling good.
Now Saturday, the Huskies kept the momentum going right from the start, scoring 8 runs in the first inning. They later went on to score 2 runs apiece in the second and again in the third. Now offensively, Brandon Arnold continued to hit well for the Huskies with 2 hits and 3 RBIs, as well as teammates Reese Gregory and Kyle Leeser, who ended the game with 2 hits for the Huskies.
Well, that's right, and after coming off of a 2-game win streak, starting off the season in the Winter Classic, the Huskies finished the trip with a win over Central Missouri. Sheldon Mix crafted a complete 3-game hitter with 12 strikeouts. The bats didn't heat up, though, until the 6th inning when Zach Hoffman singled on an error, advancing the other Zach Hoffman to second base. Then, in the 7th, Cody Rutledge scored the game winner on a single by Carl Sorensen. Huskies out-hit the Mules 8-3. The final for this one was 2-1. Alex Curtis, our SCSU football analyst, joins us here now. Alex, it's February. I know the Super Bowl just got open last weekend, but please tell me football season's not too far away. Am I right?
Not so fast. Oh. It's not happening. Spring practice for SCSU football, however, will be starting at the end of March. But for now, we're sitting in the dead zone.
Well, March isn't that far away for anything. St. Cloud State athletics or college athletics in general. To have a season that goes from fall to winter, and now they're already starting spring training in March. That's pretty significant. But what we really want to talk about is who's coming in for next year? What kind of recruits are we expected to get?
Well, St. Cloud State last week, they signed 40 different recruits, 30 of them from the state of Wisconsin, which when you think about that, that's a lot of, just a huge class in general. I think it's the biggest that Coach Underwood says he's ever had. But in that, you have a lot of depth. You've got 9 defensive backs. You've got 6 offensive linemen, 6 defensive linemen. They needed a lot of help in the trenches and at defensive back, and they really hit it this week.
Well, that's good. Graduating players like Grant Thayer and such good offensive players that we had and weapons that we had this year, we're losing a lot of those guys this year. Can we expect good positions to be filled up, like the wide receiver and those tight end spots?
Well, they are definitely looking for the wide receivers to step up who they had last year. Definitely looking at Cole Otto as well as a few of the others. And then as far as tight end, they have somebody that they brought in, actually went to Sartell High School, a transfer coming in from South Dakota State. He actually played with Nate Meyer for a little bit while they were at South Dakota State together. However, outside of that, we're not really sure.
Well, and to have chemistry like that coming in from a new school or just coming in from high school, that goes a long way, especially in this sport. But what can you tell us about what we're going to expect for next season?
What we're going to expect from next season is something that the Huskies have to get better. They were 6-5 the last 2 seasons, and then you're looking at a team that they're going to have a very experienced quarterback. The running game is going to be a lot better. They've got Jaden Huff as well as a couple of other guys that are coming back. And then that defense just has to get better across the board. We saw a lot of times last year where they were really leaky. You had times where they would let a lot of big plays through. They would let in way too many touchdowns. They would always buckle down at the end of the game, and every single game that they played was within 10 points, including losing a lot of them by 1 possession or less.
Well, and going 6-5 2 seasons in a row, that's really what we need in a defense, is to be able to not allow those teams to capitalize later in the game. So what's going to be the biggest contribution for next season in order to become 7-4 or maybe more wins than that even?
It's going to be the leadership of Nate Meyer. He's going to be a senior. He's going to have full reign with this offense. He's going to be able to tell people where they need to be, when they need to be, and everybody else around him just has to follow his lead. They've also got Jamison Parsons, All-American wide receiver, coming back. But what they've really got to figure out is who's going to step up next to him. Last year we were talking about who's going to step up right by Matt Henges, and we found that answer. It's Jamison Parsons. This year we're in the exact same conundrum. You've got Jamison Parsons over here, but then you've got insert name here over here.
Well, and from all the pipeline state, like you said, Wisconsin, so many recruits coming in from there. Are we getting any receivers or tight ends or any position that's going to be able to catch the ball like some of those guys who left can?
A couple of wide receivers that are coming in from Wisconsin, but honestly, the biggest thing, you mentioned the state of Wisconsin, they had 30 people from there. The biggest thing that really stuck out to me talking to Coach Underwood last week was just the fact that they had people who committed way ahead of time that were calling and texting their friends saying, hey, you should come here. And they actually have a duo that played together in high school. One of them's a running back, another's a wide receiver, getting them to come to St. Cloud State, play for the Huskies, and hopefully be a part of a winning tradition.
Well, and let's hope that winning tradition keeps going here, Alex. Well, it should be an exciting spring as the Huskies look to improve on their 6-5 record from the last 2 seasons. Thank you, Alex. Now we'll have to do this sometime again. I love talking football with you. It's always a good time.
Absolutely. Anytime you'll have me.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
It's hard to believe we are already a week into February and that winter sports are down to the last stretch of their regular season games. You know, one team in particular that is always looking to make a run this time of year is the St. Cloud State men's hockey team. They hit the road last weekend to take on Miami of Ohio in Oxford. Ethan Prowl got the Huskies going right away in the first period with his 6th goal of the season. Miami's Josh Meldick scored the first and only goal for the Redhawks. Coming back in the second, now David Morley and Judd Peterson put the Huskies up 3-1, but the Huskies were not done yet. In the third, Blake Winiski with the assist from Papa and Murray to add the Huskies lead 4-1. Huskies would end up scoring one more early in the third, giving the Cardinal and Black a 5-1 victory over the University of Miami.
And the following day, after a 7-game win streak, the Husky hockey team lost a close 3-2 game against Miami in Game 2. Jimmy Schultz started the game off with a goal in the first, but it was the Redhawks who had a flurry in the second, scoring 3 goals. Patrick Russell scored his 15th goal of the year in the third, making it 3-2 late in the third period. But the Huskies just couldn't keep it going, however, losing for the first time since January 9th.
The Huskies get a week off this weekend before they return to ice with a series against the University of Nebraska-Omaha on February 19th and the 20th.
Well, the last time the Huskies met up with Omaha, they split the series, winning the first game 4-1, but Omaha rebounded with a convincing 7-2 victory over the Huskies. So as the Huskies take a break this coming weekend, they have a lot to focus on in the weeks to come.
Now, moving things back home to the Herb Brooks Center, the women's hockey team hosted nationally ranked Bemidji State last weekend. The Huskies battled throughout the game, but couldn't quite close the door. Bemidji took the lead right away in the first period, 2-0. Coming back in the second, now Huskies' Brittany Anderson with the power play goal to put the Huskies back in the game. The leading point getter for the Huskies, Molly Illikainen, got on the board, and Alyssa Erickson also scored for the Huskies. The women's hockey team fought their way into a shootout, but in the shootout, the game was sealed with the goal by Riley Fawcett. Huskies are taken down 4-3. With this win for the Beavers, they have now clinched home ice advantage in the WCHA playoffs.
The following day, after a 5-game losing slump, the women's hockey team matched up against Bemidji State last weekend. The Huskies started off strong, testing the Beavers' defense early in the first, but it was BSU who put up the first point on Katie Fitzgerald. Finally, the Huskies had the upper hand with a power play halfway through the first. But after the failed power play opportunity, junior forward Kelsey Salines put up one in the back of the net, tying things up 1 apiece. Now that must have upset Bemidji a little bit as they went on to score 2 more in the second. It was the third period that the Huskies were hoping to get things rolling. The Huskies killed the Beavers in shots, but were unable to finish. Now the Beavers scored the last goal, putting the nail in the coffin, solidifying their 4-1 victory. Now the Huskies hope to break this 6-game losing streak as they head to North Dakota to take on the Fighting Hawks.
This will be the final away series in the conference starting Friday, February 12th at 7:07 and finishing the weekend on Saturday at 3:07 p.m. It's been an up and down battle for the SDSU men's basketball team this season as they look to find consistency before playoff time comes around. But this past weekend, the Huskies struggled, losing their second straight game, 96-78 on the road to a tough Winona State team. Leading the charge for the Huskies was once again junior Scotty Stone, who ended the night with 20 points and 8 rebounds. Redshirt freshman Gage Davis tailed 15 points for the Huskies, and freshman guard Brinley Tyson also contributed 14 points for the Cardinal Black. Now for the Warriors, they ended the night shooting 60% from the field and 54% from the three-point line. Now looking at those numbers, you know it was a good shooting night for the Warriors. It was St. Cloud's defense that wasn't quite showing up that determined Friday's outcome.
Well, and then that Saturday, after winning 4 straight and then dropping 2 games, the Huskies hope to shoot down the Peacocks from Upper Iowa. Now you'd think with players like Scotty Stone scoring 27 points and going 8 for 18 from the field, something would spark the rest of the team to do the same. However, the Peacocks' offense was just too tough. They shot 50% from the field, opposed to just under 42% for the Huskies. Now the Huskies were actually up at halftime, 43-42, but it was Upper Iowa who took the second half. They went on an 11-5-point streak over the Huskies. The Peacocks put up double digits and held the Huskies to 85 points. Well, the Huskies head back to the court down at Hallenbeck Hall to close out the regular season. They will be hosting the Northern State Warriors to start off the weekend at 8 o'clock on February 12th.
The Huskies will continue the weekend celebrating Senior Day by hosting MSU Moorhead, who is still ranked 8th in the nation, standing at a 23-4 record. It's not going to be in any means easy weekends for this Husky team, but I think it'll give the team a gauge exactly where they're at heading into the end stretch of their season. I'm now joined with junior Scotty Stone. Scotty, you are having a heck of a season this year. You know, scoring your 1,000th career point as a junior, huge. Having 30-plus points in multiple games. You know, what's been working so well for you this season?
I think just being able to get in a rhythm early, and obviously my teammates have gotten, with a new group of people, we've gotten to know each other better and better over the years. So I've gotten better looks in better areas. So I think at the beginning of the year you could tell that we were a little, you could say not comfortable with each other, and now I think we kind of know each other's spots, so it's really helped out the offensive load, both me and Gage. So.
Now changing gears a little bit, talking about the team. You guys are right in the middle of the pack. You know, schedule is coming down to an end. Mm-hmm. What's the focus on this time of the year?
I would say that you just kind of got to grind through it. We have 2 really tough teams this weekend, obviously, but on the road, that last weekend was pretty rough for us. But when you get when you get on the road in the NSIC, it gets brutal. So we tried to grind through it. It was a rough weekend, but we got back. We kind of relaxed a little bit on Monday. Got some stuff off our minds. We actually played just wiffle ball for practice. Just kind of got away from basketball. It can become a very monotonous job, especially in February. So. We're getting back to work, and hopefully we can sneak out 2 big wins this weekend.
Now, one thing we've talked about all season, I know with Coach Reimer, is the defensive intensity, the defensive end. You know, coming into this big weekend against Moorhead State, ranked number 8th in the nation, you know, how important is the defense side of end coming into this weekend?
Well, we didn't show it last weekend very well, so hopefully this weekend we can sure some things up. And they're a great team with a great All-American center, so it'll be definitely a big challenge for us. But we've been working on a lot of stuff this week, and hopefully we can sure some things up.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
The newest member of the St. Cloud State 1,000-point club, Scotty Stone. Looking forward to the rest of the season. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Visit utvsnews.com for all of your local news. You're watching UTVS, local TV for the Granite City. You're watching UTVS, local TV for the Granite City.
Now the women's softball team, they kicked off their season this weekend in the Husky Dome, starting off the weekend on a positive note against Dakota Wesley University. The Huskies came out hot with the bats, getting ahead early in the game. Megan Hedstrom was a name to remember from Friday's game after pitching a solid game Junior Alyssa Collette also came up big for the Huskies, hitting a home run during her first at-bat of the season. Huskies ended the game 13-2.
Now in the second game of that series, Huskies took an early lead, scoring 2 runs on Dakota Wesleyan in the first inning. Jessica Gorger takes the credit for this one for the first run after a squeeze bunt. After giving up the lead briefly in the third, SCSU finally got the bats moving. Now they drove in 8 runs in the bottom of the third. Now this could be contributed to the pair of errors Wesleyan committed that same inning. DWU started to come back, scoring 2 runs in the fifth, but it wasn't enough as the Huskies continued the day perfect, winning Game 2, 10-7.
Now Saturday, the Huskies took the field again, playing the same team as the night before, but this time the Tigers started out hitting the ball well, leaving the Huskies down 3-1, heading into the top of the 7th inning. The Huskies found their momentum late in the 7th, where they rallied to a 5-4 victory.
Well, you'd think they'd be tired after Game 4 of the weekend, but the second game started a lot like the previous day. The Huskies started strong behind the plate. They put up 2 runs against Wesleyan in the first, including 1 in the park home run from Bunnell. They carried the momentum to the third, where Gorger smashed a home run. Finally, Wesleyan got things rolling, scoring a 3-run homer by Savannah Ahumada, putting them down by only 2. But St. Cloud said enough of that as they rallied later that inning, putting up 8 runs. The Huskies won the second game 11-3.
Now the softball team hopes to continue their perfect season, hosting the University of Jamestown for a doubleheader.
Well, the 2-game series is set to take place Friday, February 10th, and that should start at about 1 p.m. at the Husky Dome.
Now the softball team hopes to continue their perfect season, hosting the University of Jamestown for a doubleheader.
And the 2-game series is set to take place Friday, February 12th at 1 p.m. at the Husky Dome. But with the softball season already underway, Ryan Junty caught up with a couple players to get their take on the season ahead.
The St. Cloud State softball team is coming into this season with big expectations. Ranked 9th in the NSIC preseason poll, this team is looking to prove they are among the best of the best.
I'd say I'm extremely confident in the season. I know we ranked 9th in our preseason polls, and I expect us to do a lot better than that this year.
The Huskies will be led in part by junior first baseman Jessica Gerger, who happens to be a player to watch after posting a batting average of .385 last season. She, however, is determined to not let that get to her head.
I don't think it put pressure on me at all, but I think it, just shows how hard I work, and I think we all work really hard as a team.
One factor that could determine the success of this team is their depth as they progress throughout the season.
I think we have great depth. Our freshmen have come in and really taken a role in the team, and I think they've done a great job working hard and getting used to Husky softball.
Teams change year after year, and getting to know new teammates and their tendencies will be key for the development of the Huskies.
I know catchers are working a lot of blocking, framing, get to know our pitchers since we have a lot of new faces.
With a mix of veterans and young talent, this team is eager to get out and impress with their play on the field.
I think we're all really excited. I know the freshmen are super excited to get out there for their first time in the Dome, and then us upperclassmen are excited to get back on the field and show what we can do this year.
As every athlete knows, however, first comes practice and conditioning.
We have been doing a lot of conditioning, fundamentals, going through the basics, but just getting ready for the season and fine-tune. So.
Ryan Junty, UTVS News.
Now, with one of the strongest starts to a season the softball team has ever seen, they are currently sitting at a record of 4-0 and will take on the University of Jamestown at the Husky Dome in a doubleheader, with the first game starting 1 p.m. this Friday.
Now switching things over to the hardwood, the women's basketball team hits the road to travel down to face off against one of the top teams in the conference, Winona State. The Huskies battled throughout the entire game but couldn't quite close the door down the stretch. Senior forward Carissa Captain led the Huskies with all scores with 14 points and 8 rebounds. Junior guard Betsy McDonald also contributed 13 points, making 4 of 9 from the field.
And the next night, after a loss against Winona in Game 1 of the weekend, the women's basketball team had another road matchup against conference opponent Upper Iowa. The Huskies shot 46% from the field and 41% from the arc. After turning the ball over 9 times, the Huskies were only able to cause 8 turnovers themselves. It was the fourth quarter where the Huskies took a 16-point lead, running all over the Peacock defense. They won the night on the road for the big 72-60 victory. And now when we come back, the part of the show everyone is waiting for.
We'll announce the player of the week and talk Blizzard's best. Don't go anywhere.
You're watching UTVS, local TV for the Granite City.
Well, now we look forward in the week and preview what's happening in Husky athletics. The wrestling team is taking on the Upper Iowa Peacocks this Thursday here at St. Cloud State. Along with them, the men's basketball team matches up against Northern State on Friday, February 12th at Hallenbeck Hall.
In softball, they are playing the University of Wisconsin Parkside on Saturday at the Husky Dome. And finally, the men's hockey team hits the road to take on Nebraska Omaha on February 19th.
Now, there's always one athlete that stands out to us here on at St. Cloud State, and this week we chose a special one. So if we take a look at the video here, Megan Hedstrom of the softball team had an extraordinary weekend in her 4-game weekend, pitching all, I believe, 4 games, doing a heck of a job making sure that the Huskies stay on top. Along with that, she also had a triple on the weekend, which isn't easy to do, especially against such good opponents. Congratulations to Megan for contributing to her team's success here early on in the season.
Now, Scott, there are 3 plays that stood out this weekend, and we're going to recognize them.
Well, this is my favorite part of the show, and all 3 plays for the third best play of the week. Junior catcher Alyssa Coletto makes her highlight debut by drilling this boomer home run past the fences, scoring for the Huskies.
Now, the second best play of the week also involves the softball team, as Megan Hedstrom drills the triple last weekend against Dakota Westland.
Now, can I get a drum roll, please? This is the best play of the week so far here at St. Cloud State. For the #1 play topping our charts here at the Blizzard's best, we couldn't just pick one, so we had to pick 2. Sophomore forward Judd Peterson had a game contributing to his team's 5-1 victory over Miami Omaha. Peterson sends this one to the back of the net after taking cross-ice pass as he crashes the net, helping the Huskies finish strong in this game. Now, along with Judd, we couldn't just recognize his teammate David Morley with the opportunity on the breakaway. And did he make the most of it? I think so. After a nice dangle in front of the crease, he threw this one on net, helping out the rest of his team and netting his spot for first place and the tie at the #1 play. Well, there were your top 3 plays of the week from all of us here at MAG. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you here next week.